I'm Wayne Carey, and this is The Truth Hurts. Welcome to The Truth Hurts. Here we are for episode 10. Tony, good to be back, and good to see that you have actually changed. Your attire's gone from check shirts with an umbrella, striped shirts and an umbrella, and now we've got no umbrella and a tee on. So you've finally conformed.
All right, well, to your way of dressing, yes, Dark, and welcome to you. I've given the umbrella the flick, even though it's raining. And
you've got it. Why have you gone the crinkled up tee?
That's not well. Just Country Road thought they'd donate one of their best blue numbers to me.
But why are you all of a sudden dressing down now? Is the pressure got to you?
No, the pressure has not got to me. But all of my shirts that were designed by my tailor up in Sydney, Shane at Rochford, they're getting washed. So,
Shane, is that a little plug for us?
Well, it could be, yes.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Mate, he designs my shirts.
You've got a shirt designer.
I do.
You get your shirt specifically made for you.
Correct.
So clearly not designer shirts.
Oh, well, they're business shirts which are made for me.
From Thailand or?
No, from Italy.
We used to, from Italy. You're kidding. That striped shirt you had on, actually, everyone should go back and have a look at the last episode and look at that striped shirt.
Do you know how much that cost?
What?
That shirt.
How much?
$340.
Okay, it doesn't matter what it costs. It's what it looks like.
And it looks fantastic.
I'm glad you've gone the tee because you look much more relaxed. Hopefully it comes out in your performance.
Now, I'll tell you what, thank you, Wayne. What about, now I've joined the T-shirt gang. Now, I don't have the ability to get $100,000 a year from Nike like you.
Talking about performance,
yes.
I am getting sick of. So down in Torquay on the weekend, watching some kids footy,
yes,
which is great. Beautiful day, by the way. Melbourne put on again, 22 and sunny yesterday. Might be the last of them, but it was sensational. Just kids footy, sausage sizzle, bag of mixed lollies. I love going to that. Is local footy not the best?
Sometimes.
Barwon heads, kids running around on the sand.
Did you sign some autographs?
Beautiful. I actually did sign. I signed a croc.
What, shoe?
A shoe. And I signed a footy.
Well, it's better than that kid at the GWS who had his head signed.
You know what I love about the young kids? Very respectful young boys came up, a little group, and the little fella had a brand new Sharon.
Yep.
And it was one of the Indigenous balls, so it had the paintings, and it was a really good-looking footy, and I could see that it was in good nick. And I looked straight at him. He had all his mates there, and they came up for a photo, and I said, "You don't kick that on the road, do you?" And he goes, "No, never kick it on the road." It's a good lesson for all the kids out. Do not, if you get a new footy, you look after it. Just like you look after your boots, you look after the
T-shirts,
your tools.
Yep.
Hey?
Well,
yeah.
that was an unwritten rule. If you got a new Ross Faulkner
or
a new Tommy Sharon, you do not kick it on the road because it scuffs the red leather.
Correct.
And then it changes the dynamic of the ball.
A lot of kids don't now. You see them kicking it out there, and if you're only getting one footy for your whole childhood, you're going to look after it. And by the way, I never got a bought from you. I had to win it.
Yeah, particularly
I was
when they cost $170.
And you're down in the, when I call down that way, of the Torquay Way and Ocean Grove and Barwon Heads, it's like a little country town, and it's the kids are very respectful. So I had a ball down there. But getting back to the pressure, I'm sick of people coming up, and it started with these kids. Oh, how North Melbourne, they said it in a respectful way. It's bordering on embarrassing now, North Melbourne, in the way they're going about their football season.
That's strong comments.
Well, strong comments because I thought at the start of the year, although they got beaten, there were periods within those games where they were competitive and they actually outscored their opponents. And it looked like, okay, you know what, this is going to be, you can build off the back of this. And the reason why, and people say to me, and this, the only time you talk about North is when you're being negative. Well, there hasn't been too much to cheer about. And if I remember rightly, last year when Brett Ratton had them, and then, right at the end when Clarkson, I thought there were some green shoots, as they like to call. They started to show they were competitive. They could have won a few games that they didn't win. One was against St Kilda, one was against Sydney, remember? They had extra man on the ground, whatever it was. So they've had, you looked at them and thought, wow, now another pre-season under the belt, and this club has actually gone backwards.
Oh, look, I thought
in hindsight, I'm going to say this as well. I was wrong. I think losing Ben Mackay was a massive mistake. on what he delivered at North, I understand why they said, but they could have matched. I think they could have matched
the offer
and kept him. I now look at how they are defensively and how he is going at Essendon, and you sort of go, well, wow, but then again, they wouldn't have got that draft pick. They wouldn't have got the player they've got now. I understand all of that. But this is a club that is, I mean, you know, you've got Eddie Maguire coming out saying they should. I'll just say I love Eddie Maguire. I love him. I think what he's done for the game and you know, what he did for Collingwood. But some of the stuff he comes up with and the suggestion about North, you know, moving, that's not going to improve North. North are not going to kick another 5 goals ahead by moving them from Arden Street.
But
they are okay.
Couldn't work out though. Why would he consider they should leave Arden Street?
I'm not sure. They're okay. They're off the ground. North are better than they've ever been. They're certainly better than when we played in the 90s. But in the 90s, we actually kicked goals, and we won. And we won footy games. So what do you want? You want to be strong on the ground or off the ground? Yeah. Well, invariably you want both. But right now,
so it's a bit like the chicken and the egg, though, isn't it? Well, Doug? You've got to have one to be the other.
Well, it'd be great. It'd be great to have them both. And like I said, they've got great facilities, they've got everything. And maybe that's the problem with them down there. Maybe that they start to think they're a bigger club than what they are and got away from the roots of, you know, what made this great club. And I remember it was the people at the club. It was the, you know, your trainers and all of your staff, your boot starter, your door person. It didn't matter who it was. And I could name them all, but I won't because we haven't got long enough. But great people, you know, and it was a great club. And
the vibe.
It was a good vibe. Hawthorn very similar. They're the same sort of club in that way. They, you know, the family club as they were called. But I whenever I look at North, I just don't see. Yes, Wardlaw. Yes, Sheezel. Yes, Larky. You know, well, Larky, All Australian last year. They've got some great LDU. They've got some really good talent. You know, Bailey Scott. I think he's finished in the top 3 in their BNF the last 3 years.
Yep.
So they've got, you know, Zerha. Everyone's talking about Zerha. You know, not signing with the club. Well, the way Zerha's playing, I'd be just trying to get whatever you can. I mean, he's not setting the world on fire.
No.
And in Clarko's defence, he'd said this year he needed all of those middle-rung players to step up. And if they all step up at the same time and perform, and then your younger players then just fall underneath, and you only have to look at, you know, a few other clubs. Look at West Coast now, all of a sudden, now that Yo and these guys are standing up, then the young kids come up underneath them and all of a sudden they're playing some consistent footy. But it also raised the big question now, and Dennis Pagan, my ex-coach, who, by the way, couldn't admire anyone in this life more than Pago, but, you know, reading in the Herald Sun that he said that Sheezel should be, you know, made captain next year, I couldn't disagree anymore.
Why?
Well, he's 19 for starters.
Yep.
He's playing off a half-back flank. He's taking all the kick-outs, and this isn't degrading. He's last year's BNF winner. We know he's a star. He's super talented. Making this kid captain when this club is where they're at, and they're literally on ground, not off ground, on ground, they are on their knees.
Yep.
They could not be any lower than where they are right now. Now, we thought a year or two ago, I think they're at their lowest ebb right now. You cannot do what Melbourne did to Trengove and Grimes years ago. They destroyed those two boys, making them captain when they were in that state.
Yep.
You've got to make a more senior player, whether it be a Larky or someone like that, or, you know, but have a senior player lead this club for the next few years at least.
Yep. And then you bring in Sheezel.
Well, let Sheezel, or there, you know, it might be someone else. It might be a Wardlaw in 3 or 4 years that becomes captain. But it doesn't matter. You do not throw this kid to the wolves, because the social media and the media itself, he would just get slaughtered, getting beaten by that amount every week. And, you know, the pressure that comes along with that, I think would be a horrific mistake.
Well, it's a bit like
North Melbourne even think about that. And the other part, and I said this last week, is the pressure to push him up onto the ball. It doesn't matter where Sheezel plays. Everyone think all of a sudden this young kid's the Messiah. The pressure that's building on him, I'm a little worried, to be honest.
In what sense, though?
It's concerning that everyone's talking about this kid. And I know we're talking about him now, but I'm talking about him in the sense of take the pressure off the kid and stop talking about him going into the middle of the ground, and North will be better if he goes into the middle of the ground. North will still lose by 8 goals if he goes into the middle of the ground. Now, will it be better for Sheezel? Well, I would argue clearly they don't think it would be at this point in his career. They know more than us. It is just concerning that, you know, the Alistair Clarkson is not getting, I think, the desire, which comes back, desire and effort, right? They're the two ingredients that you just say, and they go hand in hand. Effort is showing desire, right? And I don't see that. You look at Ross Lyon. Now everyone, and yes, I work with Ross on Triple M, and everyone say, you pally. No, that's not the case. When I look at teams that Ross Lyon coached, he gets automatic results with effort and desire. St Kilda, for all those experts out there, Kingy and Kane and Gaz and, you know, whoever, you know, all the experts, line St Kilda's talent up with North Melbourne's talent. And I guarantee you it's not that much different. And I tell you what, St Kilda go over and play Port Adelaide, who have got, you know, Rosie and Butters and
Francis
and Horn Francis and these guys in the middle of the ground, and then you look at what they got forward and all like behind, and you go, well, hang on, they got beaten by 10 points on Port Adelaide's home ground. Now that is effort and that is desire from St Kilda, right? And that is with their midfield, by the way. You know, some of their better midfielders not playing great footy, St Kilda I'm talking about. So that's what's disappointing when you look at this footy club right now. You go, well, hang on, St Kilda, Ross can get this out of St Kilda. Why can't we at least get that from North? And everyone's going, oh, yeah, but they're just kids. And, you know, they've got a lot. Yes, they do, but they showed effort and desire last year.
Under a different coach.
They showed it last year and they're now not showing it. So
do you think Clarko is the answer?
I'm not hanging this all on Clarko. I've always said that it comes back to the players. But is it a system thing? Has Clarko softened too much under the woke world that we live in, and you know, not being able to be maybe as strong as he once was, which made him the super coach and premiership coach that we know that he was at Hawthorn? Has he softened too much for this group? That's the question that I think needs to be answered.
Yeah.
Do you concur?
I do concur, yeah. I think it's a really good question, because when it comes from somebody like you who holds a very powerful voice in the game and you played at the club, I think people stand up and take notice. But the extension of the question from me is, okay, one, if you've got all these fantastic opinions, what are you doing about it?
What do you mean? What am I doing?
As a former club champion, how would you like to?
I don't know. As a former player of the footy club, and as a dad who has got a son and daughters, by the way, that both they all barrack for North Melbourne.
The three of them
all barrack for North Melbourne, and Carter's decided to, you know, he's got for Chrissy, he got all the gear and his birthday. Yep. Got all the gear, the North jumper, the shorts, went out Rebel and, you know, bought all the stuff for him. So he's ready to go. Auskick starts this week on Saturday morning, right? And he's going to have all the gear on, and he's probably going to get teased off the park.
What boots did you get him?
Nike. He's got the little Nike swoosh.
The Rube
and
boy.
You know what? More importantly, they're black. They're just plain black boots with a swoosh.
Yeah, that's good.
A coloured swoosh. Well, everyone's got coloured boots.
Oh, yeah, no, I like that.
So I like it. Simplistic.
Yes.
But he's chosen, and I'm in a difficult situation, because I actually now I'm off my ban from last week, I want to take him to a game of footy.
Just to remind those people, the ban for Peter Wright for 4 weeks.
Yeah, for 4 weeks. So I want to be able to take him to a game of footy, and I'm trying to pick the game where I take him where we're going to show a little bit of fight, and he doesn't come out of the ground saying, well, I'm going to barrack for the team that they just played.
Yeah.
Because
is that a serious concern?
I'm really serious about it. He's got kids everywhere already saying, oh, why are you barracking for North Melbourne? And you know what, as a dad, you teach him, just like, you know, you have the conversation about Anzac Day on the weekend, not suggesting that the two are similar, but you talk to him about that. I talk to him that North are, building, and there's young kids, and, you've got Sheezel and you've got Wardlaw and you've got Larky and you've got these young players coming through, and in a few years they're going to be okay. Well, I wouldn't be honest to him at the minute if I said they're going to be okay, because at the minute, like I said, they're going that way.
Yeah.
I didn't think when you finish bottom, you could go further down.
They are the only team of the 18 without a win.
Yeah, well,
West Coast was going to sack Adam Simpson.
But you can't be bottom and get worse, and they are. So Oz kick starts this week. Yeah. He's going to have all his North gear on.
Has Carter chosen a favourite player yet?
No. Well, that's when you go to the game, when you go to a live game of football, right? So he hasn't even sat down and watched the whole game on the TV yet, but I want to take him to a game this year in the next few weeks. But picking the game to go to, now Hawthorn probably would have been a good one, given that they might have got a win. They got smashed there. Adelaide on the weekend could have been a good choice. They got smashed there. Adelaide hadn't had a win. Which game am I going to take him to where he's not going to come away going, oh, Dad, I think I might jump ship?
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, I'm hoping North Melbourne CEO Jennifer Watt and the president Sonia Hood and the coach Alistair Clarkson are all listening to The Truth Hurts and say, well, let's make it a day about it. Wayne Carey's son is coming.
Not doing.
No, I'm
Are you serious? Stop talking rhubarb.
Just listen to me for a second. They just turn around and say, we've got this kid. We want to see the future of our footy club with young Carter Carey. We'll put a number 18 on his back.
He's not the future of the footy club.
I
want him. I want to be able to say, I was with Corey McKernan on the weekend. I spoke to Mark Roberts the other day. I speak constantly with a few ex-teammates about how North are going. Some of them are more involved, in their head and in their hearts than others. No,
in their heads.
Well, some are, and
I think some would like to be more involved.
And I want to take him to a game of footy.
Now, what about the suggestion?
Just show that desire and that effort, so that you can go to a game of footy and be proud of your footy club.
And be welcomed back as a past player.
Because at the moment, he's just got to get a kick at Oz kick first before you start talking about being saviours.
No, that's true. Now, the other thing is,
he'll be judged harshly on how he goes at Oz kick.
Well, he's got good genes.
You weren't here last year when we had a topic about participation medals.
No, I was in Sydney when I was listening in Sydney.
Not a big fan.
Nobody should be a fan of participation. And speaking of participation, is it true that you were asked to go on the board of the North Melbourne Football Club last year?
No.
Yes, you were.
No.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Well, is that something that you would aspire to?
No, certainly not. Let's talk about, while we had a quick chat about St Kilda, and it would be remiss of us not to talk about
Ross Lyon's pre-game speech to Fox Footy.
Jack, I do love Ross.
He bamboozled everybody.
I do love Ross, but I tell you what, he gets results. He gets results straight away. And St Kilda might have only had the 2 wins this year, but they've been competitive in all their losses and unlucky in a few of their losses, and took Geelong to the brink down at the Cattery.
Yeah, but they're
Higgins.
14th.
Let's talk about Higgins.
Just before you start on Higgins, they are 14th. Any Ross Lyon team should not be 14th.
You didn't listen to a word I said.
I did.
Look at the talent they've got. St Kilda are no more talented than North Melbourne. They're young. North Melbourne's young talent, I think, is better than St Kilda's young talent. But anyway, there's experts out there that look at it more closely than I do. I will say this: Higgins, the 3-match suspension that they've automatically given him. You're
not going to take another 3 weeks off, are you?
No, this is a classic case of. No, this is another classic case of they know that that'll be challenged and he'll get off.
Get off.
Yep.
Despite Attire concussed.
Well, Attire, I talk about this. This is why I don't miss about being on radio and TV every week, all weekend, and that is because you just get sick of talking about the same crap year after year, holding the ball, the tribunal, the score review system. It's all the same. And Attire, you have to protect yourself. Attire was trying to kick the ball while he was being tackled, and that's why invariably he got himself knocked out. Now, did Higgins contribute to it? A little bit. But when you've got a bloke over 100 kilos and him trying to kick the ball as he's being tackled, The onus is on him to protect himself. And I saw 2 or 3 players on the weekend as well actually put their heads down so it hit the ground so they would get a free kick.
Totally agree.
Players have got to stop doing that as well. And the AFL...
The Carlton guy, when Toby Green launched at him, he did the same thing and he whacked his head on the ground deliberately to entice a penalty.
So talking about low, Tony, Surge, the best footy app going
good
around.
Numbers.
It is, good numbers. We weren't too bad on the weekend.
We were close.
The draw buggered us up a little bit.
Well, yes, to go back last week for our choices on the Anzac Day, you chose Jordan DeGoey.
Yeah.
And I chose Scott Pendlebury.
Yeah.
Scott Pendlebury got caught holding the ball twice.
Well, we could have had, Zach Merritt, but anyway. Surge, they are the best. They are the best up and coming app.
I wonder what their odds were for the draw.
Ooh.
Would have been big.
Well, you could probably ask him, but let's have a look at Thursday night's game.
The Showdown.
Showdown. Now, the one thing you know about a showdown is they're always close. Now, Adelaide, did North Melbourne play them back into form? Simple answer, yes.
Yes.
Not that they were out of form. I mean, they beat Carlton.
They did.
A couple of weeks ago.
3 points, I think it was at
Yeah,
Marvel.
yeah. So they beat them. So Adelaide are at $2, which is not too bad. Showdowns, they're generally close, so you don't expect this to be... and what a Port Adelaide?
$1.84.
So $1.84.
So they got beaten by Collingwood 2 weeks ago and then beat St Kilda by 10 or so on the weekend.
Yeah, no, well, they beat St Kilda by 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. So $2, $1.84. So always
who do you
even.
like?
Who do I like? Oh, you know what? I get the feeling. So Port Adelaide, I don't think playing great footy. Aliir's going to miss.
Yep.
I like Adelaide.
Really?
Yeah, well, especially at $2, that may come out a little bit too.
Okay.
Remember,
Your old side?
It's Monday evening. So yes, my old team. By the way, they're playing for the
Wayne Carey medal.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. And Friday night.
Now this is big.
This is massive.
Massive.
When have we had? And I know we said this about Anzac Day. Excuse me. I said this about Anzac Day, but when have we had a Carlton Collingwood game as big as this one? So the Blues,
they're all
favourites.
Yep.
No, can you believe it?
Blues favourites.
Favourites, $1.86.
Well, barring their loss against Geelong, they've been very good this year.
$1.86. The Pies, $1.98.
Who do you like?
You go with who you trust more.
What, you go or you
they've
head?
got more. Well, Carlton have got more firepower.
Yeah.
But I trust Collingwood more.
It's a really interesting statement.
Now, remember, I reckon this is the game that was it Jamie Elliott? Was it last year that Jamie kicked the big goal from the boundary? Carlton should have known the year before.
And then he turned around and went like that.
Maybe that was the year before, but it doesn't.
He's very good at it.
This is going to be a massive, massive game. I will go with the Pies. So I've gone the 2 underdogs. Now, I know they're very close, but still, they're the underdogs according to the Surge shares. So,
yes.
Surge shares, Surge price.
You're going to put them on the stock market.
Oh boy.
And then Saturday night.
So I'm going to go with the Pies and the Crows.
The Pies and the Crows.
Yep.
Now, what about Saturday night?
Yep. And I'm going to go.
So Melbourne's at $2.
Yep.
And the Cats are at $1.85.
Yep. So I'm going to go with the underdogs again.
Interesting.
The D's.
No, I like Geelong. They're too good.
Okay, so who are you tipping?
I'm going Geelong, Collingwood, Port Adelaide.
Okay, so we're pretty much complete opposites. So I'm going the D's, the Pies, and Adelaide, all underdogs according to the odds.
Well, you can get all that on Surge, Duck.
Get it all on Surge.
Go to the website and punch it in.
Surge is a betting app that helps you punt with power. Watch live Sky Racing fast on Surge and enjoy shockingly good daily promos across racing and all your favourite sports. Whether you're a seasoned punter or new to the game, Surge is the app for you. Download Surge now for a powerful betting experience.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
I was just about to say something then about St Kilda. Oh, about Jack Higgins. the discrepancy in height. Jack Higgins is 177 centimetres tall. Attire is 196 centimetres.
Yeah.
That's 2/3 of a ruler.
It was just the
It's
action.
crazy.
It was obviously Higgins underneath trying to bring him down, and Attire trying to kick the ball, which then took his other leg, so he loses complete balance. And there was only one thing that was going to happen from there.
Yep.
So Attire should have just said, "Okay, I'm caught here holding the ball."
Yep.
And he wouldn't have been knocked out.
So
pretty simple.
In saying that, Duck, in all sense of seriousness, what would satisfy you for Jack Higgins to sit out?
No, he'll get off.
I think he gets a week.
No, get off. He should get off because Attire contributed more to that than what Higgins did.
Do you think it then comes down to the discrepancy of the AFL Tribunal, or is it how good your lawyer is?
Probably. Well, it's toss a coin with the AFL.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how good your lawyer is, in my opinion. Something a bit more positive.
I was going to start on that same game before you go there. That Charlie Dixon running back with the flight of the ball last quarter, he probably saved the game. Charlie Dixon, I know he's 6'7" or whatever he is.
I stood next to him the other week.
He is a monster.
He's a monster.
Oh, he's a big fella. And then the beard goes well. He ran back with the flight of the ball, backing back into a pack of, I think, 3 or 4. Took the mark, and I thought if it wasn't for Jamie Elliott's spectacular mark Anzac Day, that should have been mark of the week. To do what he did without looking back at who was coming and to take that mark with both hands, it's fantastic.
Yeah, he's a big... when he's on, Port Adelaide, they don't lose games when...
He kicked 4 straight.
They don't lose games when he's playing well.
Yep.
Let's touch on Jamie Elliott because that was an absolute rip.
Was it? What?
Wasn't a great game of footy in terms of the skills and everything else, but it was a great game of footy because of the day, and because there was some unbelievable highlights in it.
Did you go to the ground?
And that was no. I just watched it from home, and like I said, sat down and explained to Carter about what Anzac Day was and everything else and how big it was, and it was. I thoroughly enjoyed the day.
Was
awesome. Carter
Carter enthusiastic about why the men in suits are coming on?
Yes.
And there 100,000 people standing in silence.
He was. Where is the state? What is anyone separated in your mind from where they will finish in this AFL season? Or obviously Geelong are undefeated. For what it's worth. They obviously good win on the weekend against the Blues. They had a good win last week, like I said.
Beat Brisbane.
Finally playing to. Although when you look at where Brisbane are at,
gone backwards.
Well, so I thought that was the win that sort of said, okay, well you played a good team.
Yep.
But the way Brisbane are going, you sort of go, well look what GWS did to them.
Yeah.
So
speaking of GWS and Brisbane, do you find that Lachie Neale finds himself in trouble far too often as the receiver?
With
Cal Ward, he's sort of getting touched in the throat and falls down, and same thing happened when the Lions played Carlton. I think there's another game where Lachie Neale found himself in some trouble.
Well, when you're a prime ball mover, you do get niggled at. So you generally you're a retaliator a lot.
Yeah, it just seems to be he seems to be the one every week. I don't know whether he is targeted or whether he's faking it.
Well, he's a good player. So
Callan Ward doesn't go after anybody.
I think GWS are the team to beat.
Well, there was no Green, no
Correct.
Coniglio,
Correct.
no Taylor.
Yeah.
And look what they did.
Yeah. And you look at what they did at the end of last year. They followed that on. They're a serious footy team. And I love the way they move the footy.
Can they beat Sydney this week? Be 2nd v 3rd?
Battle of the Bridge. They don't like calling it that anymore, do they?
Oh, that's because 3/4 of the Giants players live in Bondi.
Can they? Yes, they can. It's at the SCG, isn't it?
That's right. Saturday afternoon. We might go.
I'm going to be in Sydney, so I might go to the. I've been invited to the game.
Yeah.
I obviously get tickets anyway.
You've got a black tie number Friday night, don't you?
We do. There's yes.
We or you and somebody else?
What do you mean?
Oh, am I coming?
Well, you can be my +2. No, it's the
how much
New South Wales Hall of Fame.
Is
night.
it inaugural?
Inaugural, yes.
Jeez, it sounds like a big night.
Don't know yet. I'll let you know how big a night. Well, if you're there,
do
you want to come?
I would love to.
Have you got you can't
penguin
wear,
suit?
You can't wear that the suits you've been wearing in here.
No, I'll dress up.
You've
I
got
might go back to Rochford in.
It's actually a black tie event.
Yeah.
I'll see if you're allowed.
Tell them they'll get a maximum amount of exposure on The Truth Hurts.
I'll see if you're allowed.
So who wins out of Sydney and GWS?
I'm going to say GWS.
I like it. Look, I think if those three boys can come back, I reckon.
Well, Toby's definitely coming back.
Toby's definitely coming back. Yes,
He's had a week rest. He'll be fresh.
Yeah, he was jumping out of his
generally,
skin.
when you're around this time of year, I know he obviously would have loved to play, but in the end, it didn't matter. Just to have that little freshen up, he'll be running on top of the ground.
Oh,
It'll
big
be
time.
It's going to be a great game to watch.
And he loves playing well against Sydney.
I can say this: I won't be at the game.
You won't.
No, we don't go up. I don't go up to Sydney weekend away to go and watch a game of footy.
What are you going to walk with sand in your toes down at Bondi with Jess?
I'll be doing a lot more fun stuff than watching a game of footy.
I know what you'll be doing.
I'll
Sitting
watch
at the pool deck of the Intercontinental drinking a daiquiri.
I'll watch the. I'll see highlights of it, but I certainly won't be watching it. What?
I'm going to warn all the pubs and bars in the eastern suburbs
go
of
up
Sydney.
for a weekend
Wayne Carey is coming, ladies and
Why
gentlemen.
would I go to Sydney for a weekend and go and watch footy?
Well, you go and...
That's bordering on stupidity.
Mate, Sydney, the SCG's a great ground, and if you
Yeah,
have
it
access
is,
to a box...
But I live in Melbourne. I can go to games of footy all the time, and I'm going away for a weekend. You don't go and watch footy.
Yeah, okay. Well, there is a lot more to do in Sydney.
There is.
Like sunshine.
Well, I've looked at the weather. I think Melbourne's going to be better weather, but it doesn't matter. Have you noticed that there's even an Olympic Games on at the minute?
Well, only
this year?
Channel 10, when Channel 9 puts up that little watermark at the top right of their screen. But was it Paris 2024?
Channel 7 have the Olympics, don't they?
They did. I think Channel 9 took it off them.
No, I don't think so.
Well, yeah. Well, who did London? Channel 9.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's...
I think, was it Tokyo 2 years ago?
Yes.
Yeah,
was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
Either or.
Well,
it's
COVID
usually,
buggered everybody.
Yeah, well, it's every 4 years.
Yes, thanks, Tony. I know that it's every 4 years, but because of COVID, it's changed. So
Yes.
it's a shorter gap this year. But I've got to be honest, I don't watch a lot of free-to-air TV.
Yep.
I'm always, you're on Netflix or Stan.
Well, what is your favourite show?
Mine?
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to go back and watch? Well, just to change the subject, I'm going to go back and watch Revenge. Do you remember that series?
Is that with that gorgeous Emily Van Camp?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Going to go back and watch that from the start because I never got to the end, so I'm going to go back to the start and watch it. Anyway, the Olympics.
Yeah.
Does anyone even know that it's on?
I don't think anybody cares that it's on.
Really?
Well,
We're
why?
talking about the Olympics.
It doesn't have the same invigoration
But
and
why?
or profile.
But why?
Well, I think there's elements of
Where's
cheating.
the advertising? Where's the fanfare around our great athletes?
Your mates from RM Williams, they dress all the athletes.
Twig.
Andrew.
Yeah, but why?
Look, I don't know, but I thought at least 10 years ago.
You should be, driving down the freeway and, seeing that, the Olympics are on such and such. I'm not seeing any of that.
Yeah, but I just
or am I just oblivious? Is it out there and I haven't seen it?
You're not oblivious, but I just don't think the same fanfare is covering the Olympics because the generation of today and tomorrow don't really care about it. Unless you are designated, which is probably the wrong word, unless you are involved in that sport, you don't really care.
Yeah, well, I disagree, and I know the numbers were huge. No, Channel 7 definitely had.
Well, Channel 9 did have it, so maybe they bought it back off them.
Anyway, it doesn't. Whoever has got the Olympics, start putting it out there a little bit more, and let's get excited around our great athletes.
I think you're right. Is Hamish McLaughlin doing something?
Of course, it is. It is Channel 7, you nitwit. Because
I
remember Hamish. I remember BT put in for the basketball.
Yeah.
Here's a funny little story.
Anecdote?
About,
BT, get your ears ready.
About when the Olympics, yeah. So you're right, Tokyo. Where were they the year before? The 4 years prior to that,
Was it Sochi?
was it Seoul?
Sochi?
I don't know. Anyway, BT went to Lewis, Lewis Martin at Channel 7 and said, well, I follow the basketball. I'd love to, be involved in the basketball, and this, I think being BT, I should be given the right to go over. So he wanted to be flown over.
Yep.
It was right at this, mate. It was definitely the, it was definitely during COVID. No, it was the COVID, because they were only taking limited skeleton crew, as they say, over. But BT wanted to go over and call Greece v the USA. And basically BT wanted to,
Andrew Gaze.
He wanted to rub shoulders with the USA team. That's,
yes,
real, like he thought, I'll be over there.
LeBron.
I'll be talking about Big Bird and LeBron and that's what he thought. And he'd be doing the Aussie games and, everything else. And my understanding, well, not my understanding, I think Lewis said to him, well, you're going to have to, work on the names. You're going to have to know the names of all the, the Greece players. You're going to have to name, the Afghan players, all that. So and once BT sort of looked at the thing and thought, okay, so I'm going to have to study and know all the games. He said, I think I'll stay at home.
Is that a true story?
That is a true story.
So what, BT thought he was just going to go and interview the Australians and the Americans?
He basically thought he was going to go over there, sit back, commentate on the Aussies and the big games. Yeah. The big games.
What, and then sit in the media centre and be a rock star?
And, well, that's a true story. And once he found out he'd have to do the other games, not so...
Like Romania and...
Not the big names...
Hey, now, BT, we actually teased our favourite commentators about 3 weeks ago and still haven't done it.
We haven't done it?
We might have to put our heads on.
While we're on former colleagues, and great colleagues, by the way, BT, he makes me laugh. Those little stories make me laugh. And the other one that made me laugh, and I don't believe rumour and innuendo, but I read about Billy going on a reality TV show. Now, he's done The Jungle.
Yes.
Now, a little birdie tells me that it might be The Amazing Race.
For Bill?
For Big Bill.
He's not the greatest runner.
Well, it'd be like the tortoise and the hare.
Who do you think he would do it with?
Well, I don't know. But I wonder if that's true.
Well,
if it is...
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
If it is, then I think that you tune in to watch Bill. He's very, very, very good.
He's very funny.
I'll actually call him. I'll give him a buzz today and find out which one it is. He probably contractually can't talk about which one it is at the moment.
They never can,
but he did. But at least he was honest, and they said, "Why are you doing it?" He said, "Cash."
He's not still paying Nicky off,
surely it won't be Dancing with the Stars.
He's just come back from New York. I think he had a fairly hefty credit card bill.
He wouldn't be doing any of the...
wouldn't be doing SAS like
the agility.
Like you.
He wouldn't be doing SAS.
Not like you, where you tore your shoulder in half.
So, well done, though, Bill, but I will find out. But I find it funny if it is The Amazing Race. Yeah,
speaking of former colleagues, now we had Mark McClure and Kenny Hunter on last week for their Fifth Quarter Foundation.
Yep.
Went down to the Botanical and the Gilson and the Botanical Gardens across the road for your amazing photo, front page of the Herald Sun.
Yeah, it's good to be on the front page for
good reasons.
Positive.
Yeah, no, it was a very good photo. They did extremely well.
I could have.
What, could have done your hair?
Brushed up a bit more.
Nike could have given you a better T-shirt.
No, could have brushed up.
But I'll tell you what we did see. After you made a dash for Carter School, the CEO of the Formula One Grand Prix here in Melbourne, Travis Old, was seen walking out of the Gilson, and 5 minutes later, his lunch pal, Andrew Demetriou. Wonder what they were doing.
Hang on, let me guess. Probably eating. Well, they're
having a coffee.
Well, they're going to a restaurant. So
yes,
would that be fair enough?
Well, it would be.
You're just looking at a different angle, but maybe they're just.
No, of course I'm looking at a different angle.
Maybe they're just going for lunch.
Yeah, they could be.
Okay. Well, it's not a puzzle.
No, it's just interesting to see that, these people who are former colleagues just catching up in South Yarra.
Talking about going for lunch, I have, and everyone knows, I've had a couple of frothies in the last 10 weeks, only a couple, right? Yeah. On 2 occasions, I've had a couple of beers in 10 weeks. I'm getting off the anti-inflams. I'm going to get.
Breaking news!
I'm going to get off the anti-inflammatories for good because I've got off my bum and done a little bit of research around CBD oil.
This is big.
And I know there's heaps of people out there, and I've spoken about a little bit about this before, but come across a a CBD company called cmaclinic.com.au.
Yes.
Yep, CMA Clinic, right? And gone online, booked a doctor, and I'm going to see the doctor tomorrow to actually get prescribed CBD oil so that I don't have to, keep popping anti-inflams anymore.
Is that how you do it?
Well, I do now.
Do you use CBD oil to keep your hundreds together?
And I won't be dropping any oil on a casino table. This is plant-based CBD oil.
Well, you'll be allowed in Crown Casino with your CBD oil.
Well, are you?
I suspect.
Well, it comes from a plant.
And it is medicinal.
I assume you just don't drop it on the table. But no.
It is liquid, right?
It is that easy. You know how I do the mosh? You do all the mosh online.
Yes.
That's exactly. So people out there think it's, I'm telling you now, once again, done my research on it. So sleep, obviously the anti-inflammatory, anxiety, all of those things it can help with. So
does it get you
I'm
high?
going to give it a full go. I don't think you can have it without that element in it. I'm going to give it a go and give people update, and I'm going to sort of follow it through and make sure, because I assume the first time you take it, you don't just bounce out and think you.
But it all depends on how it reacts to your body.
I mean, you've
got insomnia at the best of times.
You probably. We don't need you eating a whole packet of Tim Tams after.
I usually do. So what have you got it for? What are you prescribing CBD oil for?
Well, where do you want me to start? So shoulders, neck, two biggest things. So I've got a serious neck injury where, if it went it's three discs that need replacing in my neck. 3.
Are you going to have that done?
No, because I'm popping enough anti-inflammatories to keep myself feeling okay, and I'm exercising, which also helps. So you keep the joints moving. That all helps. I'm getting osteo. I'm doing all of that. So all of those things contribute. But you've got to, every time you take anti-inflammatories, you've got to have a full stomach, because you can get an ulcer in the stomach if you don't. So if you don't take in actual fact, I think Danielle Laidley, I think she had a really bad ulcer from anti-inflammatories after she retired from footy.
Is that legitimately anti-inflammatories?
Yeah, and I think there was a number of different players that have had a lot of problems with ulcers and things, and it's a very serious, it burns a hole in your stomach, it's a serious...
Because it creates the acidity in your gut.
It's a serious drug. So the CBD oil, I'm hoping, well, clearly it's going to be better for you, and I'm hoping has a way better result as well. And all that also helps with, like I said, apparently sleep and all of those other little things.
Does it help with your hair stimulation?
Get a little bit. No, I'll keep popping those pills. Well, the mosh, you've got to
get the mosh.
You've got to, the Fred Astaire's still there.
Yeah, you've got good Fred Astaire.
Yeah. Well, I haven't got a possum on my head just yet, so that's the most important thing. So cmaclinic.com.au. So and I know you get a little bit of, anxious.
Yeah, I've got a shocking sleep habit.
Yeah, you do. What's it called?
I take Stilnox.
Oh, are you serious?
Yes.
That is just, they're terrible for you.
Well, it's the only thing that keeps me
Don't
sleep.
they send you, don't you go sleepwalking and all that with them?
Yeah, they can. Sleep driving, sleep everything. Stilnox are bordering on being banned.
So why are you taking them?
Because it's the only thing that puts me to sleep.
Well, you're gonna do this as well.
Yeah, well, sign me up.
Yeah, well,
you can be a guinea pig.
You've got to go online and you've got to order your own, and you go and speak to the doctor.
Yep.
And then it'll be prescribed, so it's all legal.
For all your fans out in podcast land, do you know what the cost is?
No idea yet. Okay. I've got the appointment tomorrow.
Okay, well, we look forward to it. So next week there should be some improvement.
Well, I hope so. I might come in here bouncing around. And no, I'm serious about that. I'm looking forward to that.
Does CMA Clinics have a retail post? They got an outlet, or is it just everything online?
It's all online.
Okay.
All on my understanding. I'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, beautiful. So the Olympics is done. We've forgotten. We're not talking about that anymore.
No.
What about Buddy Franklin? We're going to Sydney on the weekend. What did you think of his lap of honour yesterday?
Classy. I thought well done to Buddy, because he's been at Sydney, played it longer at Sydney in the end than he did at Hawthorn.
He played Sydney 11 years?
I think it was 10 or 11 and about 9 at Hawthorn. But he premiership player, 2-time premiership player, superstar, kicked 100 goals at the Hawks, started his career there. They give him a chance,
I wish he had won a premiership for the Swans.
Yeah, well, he did everything but got to
played in
grand finals.
2 grand finals.
Yeah.
I think, people were critical of the deal when Andrew Ireland created it.
Worth every cent.
Times 100.
Plus some, yeah.
Mate, he was sensational for that season.
He does look awkward when he's in the spotlight as well. I think the way he embraced 1,000 goals and the way he handled that with all, the crowd and the way he got off the ground, the way he's handled himself, with his lap of honour at Sydney, the way he did it on the weekend. He can drift off into the sunset now, and if he wants to be incognito, he can. And I think...
He's still Buddy Franklin, though.
No, I know, but... he doesn't have to do any more laps of honour.
He doesn't have to go to nightclubs to get
his next thing, he'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and that'll be his next public appearance.
What does Buddy do though in terms of do you reckon he'll be able to assimilate into day-to-day life?
Well, how would I know?
Well, you've been in a similar position.
Yeah, well, but I don't know what Buddy's. I assume
but
got things sorted.
Yeah, well, you would hope so. He lives in a $10 million house on the Gold Coast with Jacinta, and
good on him.
They look like they've got their life set up.
He'll be fine, but I think it'll be done on the lowdown rather than in the spotlight. So well done to Buddy.
Yeah,
I thought that was fantastic, and I reckon that's a good way to wrap it up.
Oh, just before we wrap it up,
why do you do that every week?
Well, because you never ask whether I've got anything else to say.
Okay. Well, okay, keep going.
Well, now St Kilda. Now we know Ross has got the on-field stuff sorted.
I thought we'd
hang on. It's a segue, Wayne. Hang on. So, Ross Lyon's got everything sorted on the field. They're aspiring to success and they're up the ascension ladder. What about their off-field? There's a little birdie that tells me that...
so we're going to go with a rumour again, are we?
It's not a rumour.
Okay, what?
That former West Coast Eagles CEO, Trevor Nisbett, might have just jumped into favouritism for the St Kilda CEO's job.
Oh, that'd be big for St Kilda.
That'd be massive.
Because he's highly... intelligent. Thought of.
Sought after.
Yes, correct.
Well, he was behind the West Coast Eagles juggernaut, and he got them a couple of flags.
It'd be a big get.
He would be massive.
So well done. Finished on a little newsy bit.
Yeah, people love news because you can't make them laugh, so I tell them what they don't know.
You just laugh at your own gag. All right.
We'd hang around you too long.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Wayne. I enjoyed it.
All right.